The Zephyrian interrogation chamber hummed with the soft blue glow of neural dampeners, designed to suppress the fight-or-flight responses of most sentient species. Commander Vexhai observed the human prisoner through the reinforced viewing panel, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he studied the strange creature strapped to the bioscan table. The human, designation Marcus Chen, should have been cowering. The chamber's atmospheric processors had been calibrated to induce maximum psychological distress, reduced oxygen levels, subsonic frequencies that rattled most species' nervous systems, and a cocktail of airborne pheromones that triggered primal terror responses. Instead, the human was laughing. Status report. Vexhai clicked through his translator, his mandibles twitching with confusion. Science Officer Yilnara's tentacles rippled across her control console. All torture protocols are functioning within normal parameters, Commander. Neural dampeners at 60%, fear inducers at maximum, pain threshold modulators active. Yet the subject's stress indicators remain unusually low. The human's laughter echoed through the chamber, not the manic giggling of a broken mind, but genuine, hearty amusement. Marcus craned his neck to look directly at the observation window, somehow knowing exactly where his captors were watching. "You guys seriously think this is scary?" Marcus called out, his voice carrying easily through the chamber's audio pickups. "My grandmother's basement was more intimidating than this place." Vexhai's security chief, a massive Krillian named Thok, growled low in his throat. "Permission to increase pain protocols, Commander. This creature mocks us." "Denied," Vexhai replied, though his own pride stung. The Zephyrians had perfected their interrogation techniques over 3 centuries, breaking the will of dozens of species. How is this single human resisting so effortlessly? Marcus continued talking, apparently to himself but loud enough for the microphones to catch every word. "Let's see. The air's a bit thin, but nothing worse than hiking in Colorado. The sound's annoying, like a broken air conditioner, but I've worked construction near subway tracks. And whatever you're pumping through the vents smells like my college roommate's gym socks." Yilnara's chromatophores shifted to deep purple, the equivalent of a confused frown. "Commander, I'm reading his biometrics. His heart rate is actually decreasing. His cortisol levels are—" She paused, recalibrating her instruments, dropping to what appears to be relaxation parameters. "Impossible," Vexhai snapped. "Increase all protocols by 20%. The chamber's systems responded immediately. The air grew thinner, the subsonic assault intensified, and the fear pheromones doubled in concentration. Most species would be unconscious by now, their minds shattered by sensory overload. Marcus yawned. "Oh, come on," he said, rolling his eyes. "Is this seriously the best you've got? I've been to music festivals louder than this. And buddy, if you're trying to suffocate me, you're going to need to try a lot harder. My planet's atmosphere is 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other stuff that'll kill you. Plus, I'm from Denver. Mile High City. This is nothing." Thok's massive fists clenched. "Commander, this is humiliating. Let me enter the chamber. I'll show this soft skin what real fear looks like." "Wait," Vexhai commanded, a terrible suspicion forming in his mind. "Yilnara, what do our files say about human homeworld classification?" The science officer's tentacles danced across her console, pulling up the relevant data. Her chromatophores shifted rapidly through the spectrum. Surprise, fear, and dawning horror. "Commander, Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. Gravity Index 1.7, atmospheric toxicity rating severe, predator density. Oh, ancestors preserve us. Predator density is listed as survival requires constant vigilance." Marcus had apparently heard every word through the chamber's audio system. His laughter grew louder. "Class 12? Is that supposed to be high? Buddy, you haven't lived until you've been chased by a grizzly bear while hiking, had a close encounter with a great white shark, or spent a night in Australia. Hell, half the plants on my planet are actively trying to kill us, and we turn them into salads." Vexhai felt his exoskeleton growing cold. Class 12 was the highest death world rating they'd ever encountered. Most species evolved on Class 3 or 4 worlds at most. His own homeworld was a peaceful Class 1, a garden paradise where the most dangerous predator was roughly equivalent to what humans apparently called a butterfly. "Sir," Yilnara whispered, "I'm cross-referencing human evolutionary data. They evolved from persistence hunters. They used to chase their prey for days until the animals literally died from exhaustion. Their fight-or-flight response is, it's not designed to choose flight. Marcus had somehow worked one hand free from his restraints designed to hold creatures with 3 times human strength. He was now gesturing casually as he spoke. You want to know what's really funny? Marcus continued. You guys kidnapped me while I was on vacation. I was literally taking a break from my day job because it was too stressful. You know what I do for a living? I'm a trauma surgeon. I spend 12 hours a day with my hands inside people who are actively dying, racing against time to save lives while their blood paints the walls. And you thought some mood lighting and bad air freshener was going to break me? The human had now freed his other hand and was casually untying his ankle restraints. The unbreakable Zephyrian biobonds might as well have been made of paper. Oh, and another thing, Marcus said, standing up and stretching like he'd just woken up from a nap. You guys might want to check your xenobiology textbooks. See, when humans get really stressed, we don't just curl up and cry. We get angry. And when we get angry, he looked directly at the observation window again, his smile taking on a distinctly predatory quality. How we solve problems. Alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Ylnara's tentacles flew across her console in panic. Commander, he's not just escaped the restraints, he's somehow reversed the chamber's atmospheric controls. The neural dampeners are offline, and he's rerouted the fear pheromones back into our ventilation system. Thok stumbled, his massive frame suddenly shaking as his own species' terror responses kicked in. The Krillian warrior, veteran of a dozen campaigns, was reduced to a whimpering mass by the very chemicals they'd tried to use on their prisoner. Marcus had somehow accessed the chamber's control panel, despite it being designed for Zephyrian physiology, and was rapidly typing commands with movements too fast for their cameras to track. You know what the really scary thing about humans is? Marcus called out cheerfully as he worked. We're not just from a death world. We conquered it. Every other species you've met probably spent millions of years hiding from their planet's dangers. We spent millions of years turning them into pets, food, and entertainment. The chamber door, sealed with military-grade locks, slid open with a cheerful chime. Marcus stepped into the corridor, cracking his knuckles. Now then, which way to your bridge? I figure we should have a little chat about this whole kidnapping thing. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt anyone. I'm a doctor after all, but I'm going to need you to turn the ship around and take me home. He paused, looking back at the observation window where Vexhai stood frozen in terror. Oh, and next time you want to intimidate a human, try something actually scary, like making us sit through a PowerPoint presentation about quarterly earnings or playing country music. That might actually work. As Marcus disappeared down the corridor, whistling what sounded like a human war song, Vexhai finally understood why his species had never encountered humans before. It wasn't because they were primitive or isolated. It was because the galaxy's other civilizations had been quietly, collectively, and very wisely giving the death world called Earth a very wide berth. Sir? Ylnara asked weakly. Should we comply with his request? Vexhai watched the human's vitals on the monitor. Steady heartbeat, low stress indicators, and what appeared to be... Was he actually enjoying this? Yes, the commander whispered. And send a priority message to High Command. We need to update our files on humans. Classification change. From potential slaves to never approach under any circumstances. From somewhere deep in the ship came the sound of more laughter, echoing through the corridors like the promise of a storm. The Zephyrians had learned their lesson about Deathworlders. They just wished it hadn't been so terrifying.